It's the most powerful show on television. High drama with intense energy. A show dedicated to a few brave souls who risk their lives for the sake of their craft. Its in-depth reporting goes to the core and unlocks the mysteries behind today's raciest sport. Motorsports. Catch it when you can.
The Speed Station welcomes you to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the running of the Pennzoil 400. In the race analysis, tonight's event will take place over the course of 134 laps, with stage number 1 coming to an end on lap 33 and stage 2 coming to its conclusion on lap 67. Expect at least one green flag pit stop over the course of the final stage if we go caution-free. And after 1 week of all-star exhibition racing here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, tonight we move back onto the subject of the quest for the NASCAR Cup Series title, with now just 16 races remaining in the regular season before we kick off the playoffs at Darlington. Kevin Harvick currently sets atop the point standings by 19 points above Matt DiBenedetto, the new $1 million man who just signed a 3-year extension to drive that number 2 car for Team Penske. Still looking for his first points race win of the year. Then Joey Logano currently resides tied for second in points. However, DiBenedetto gets the tiebreaker because of his amount of top 5s. So Joey Logano resides third in points. Clint Boyer, the 2019 Series champion, fourth in points, 28 points out of the lead. Austin Dillon getting a great run this season for RCR, resides fifth in points, 45 points back. Alex Bowman, sixth in points, is 48 points back, matching his car number. Then Chase Elliott, the winner at the Nashville Fairgrounds, is 50 points out of the point lead in 7th. Denny Hamlin is 53 points back in 8th position in the standings after getting involved in that second incident with Brad Keselowski in the All-Star race. Eric Jones having a fantastic run this season for JTG Doherty Racing, won the All-Star Open last week. He has 56 points out of the point lead in 9th in the standings. And Justin Allgaier, in his first full season for Chip Ganassi Racing, 66 points out of the point lead, resides in 10th in the regular season standings. Defending Pennzoil 400 winner, Daniel Suarez tested NASCAR's next-gen spec test car at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway prior to the Pennzoil 400. Suarez reported some very interesting things about the car, in particular pertaining to the tires. Because we run 18-inch wheels on these cars, there is a much narrower sidewall on these tires. So what that means is that you actually feel every bump in the racetrack a little bit more quickly than you would out of the current Generation 6 Cup car. Because the way the wheel and tire combination is on our current cars, you have 3 extra inches of sidewall flex. On these cars, those 3 inches are gone, and it's just bigger wheel. So any force that the tire feels, you feel in the car much quicker. So the car is more responsive in that respect. And going off of the aero package test that we had in the All-Star race, there's no real concerns about our Speedway package because that put on a very good show. The 4-inch spoiler, removal of the tapered spacer, all that worked out very, very well in the All-Star race. And that is, in fact, the package that NASCAR intends on utilizing for the next generation car at intermediate speedways such as this in the 2022 Cup Series season. It's also interesting to note that unlike the current Generation 6 car that we run, which has aerodynamic flarings, aka the teams are allowed to bend certain parts of the body out so they can get more side force and better bite down on the racetrack aerodynamically, this next generation car, however, is actually symmetrical on both sides. So it's a little bit less comfortable than our current Generation 6 car, even with a similar aero package, the 4-inch spoiler, so on and so forth, because the thing doesn't have any side force in comparison. What you have on the left side is equal to what you have on the right side, and it's practically straight. There is no flaring on either side of the car, so it doesn't give you that extra support when you're trying to lean the car into a corner, because you don't really have any side force holding the side of the car down. So it's a little bit more difficult to drive than our current cars, even with the same or very similar aero package. Hello everyone, welcome back to the NASCAR Cup Series Ride-Along segment. Today we are prepping for the Pennzoil 400. You may notice that the car sounds a little bit different than it did last week. That's because last week we were utilizing NASCAR's new X-Pipe exhaust system, which which is a lot similar to what we used to use on the Cup Series cars back in the Winston Cup era. Right now we're using the Y-pipe system, which is what we have on our current cars, so the car sounds a little bit different. We are restricted on horsepower once again, 550 package here, 8-inch spoiler, so that means we can be a lot more liberal with the right foot. We can really keep the car matted through these corners. You only have to burp the throttle just a little bit in turns 1 and 2. You can pretty much flat-foot it through 3 and 4. So there's green flag for, I guess, what you'd call a qualifying lap, even though I normally run more than 1 or 2 laps. Here's the entry to turn 1. You got to burp the throttle just a little bit to get the car to settle in the middle lane. That's my preferred line. You run the middle to the top. Some drivers, in fact a lot of them, will be able to roll the bottom here over the course of tonight's race. And here in turns 3 and 4, you can kind of arc the thing in, put more wheel into it, and run her full throttle to try and keep your momentum up. Obviously, over the course of a run, as the tires wear, you won't be able to do that, but you can do it early into a run to try and make up time. And one more time around, swing the thing out towards the wall on the entry to turn 1, cut the thing in, burp the throttle just a little bit to get the car to set the front end down so you can actually make the corner. Slide up just a little bit towards the wall, run down the back straightaway in this little bit of area of shade. Try to do the same thing in the 3 and 4, however, put a little bit more wheel into it. You have more banking in 3 and 4 because they redid this track back in 07 to be high banked to fit stock cars more, and boy, they did a good job getting this place ready for Cup Series racing back then. Because originally this track was more or less a Cup Series and IndyCar combination track. Obviously, we remember the tragedy of 2011. That was because this track is configured for stock cars. Now, that race shouldn't have happened. However, this place is now purpose-built for stock car racing, and it provides fantastic shows, just like what we saw last week with the All-Star race. Once more, full throttle in the middle lane through 3 and 4. And there's a few laps around Las Vegas Motor Speedway in a Generation 6 Cup Series car with all the current car elements. Nothing from the next-gen car on this race car. Christopher Bell has won the pole here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Pennzoil 400, the first pole of the year for Hattori Racing Enterprises and their first pole as a NASCAR Cup Series organization. Justin Allgaier qualifies the 42 car in second. Clint Boyer qualifies third. Austin Cindric, representing sponsor CarQuest this weekend, qualifies in fourth. Ryan Blaney in fifth. Greg Biffle making his return to Cup Series competition after a fourth place finish in this season's Daytona 500. Qualifies a 69 for Gaunt Brothers in sixth. Then the $1 million man, Matt DiBenedetto, qualifies a 2 car in seventh. Chris Buescher with a great run in eighth. Brad Keselowski qualifies 9th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. qualifies the 47 car in 10th position. And so now, let's go down trackside for the command.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Nice smooth, be there at the end. The long race, we just got to stay in contention, no mistakes. That's the big key, no mistakes today. We get up there, we get in the top 10, we ride. That's what we got to do today.
Pace car hits pit road. Christopher Bell pacing the field onto the front straightaway here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And there's the green flag for the Pennzoil 400. Bell gets off to a pretty good jump, already clearing the outside lane in the 42 car of Justin Allgaier. Already a bit of a battle for second, as Matt DiBenedetto, 3 wide on the bottom, trying to carve his way through the field quickly. Getting around Ryan Blaney, his teammate in the 12 car, and Greg Biffle in the same move. As Clint Boyer's been pushed into second position by the 21 of Austin Cindric, the 61 of Christopher Bell has started to break away from the pack. '21 and 2 cars hooked up entering turn number 1. Almost turns the 21 car around. He fortunately gets onto the brakes, slides up in front of the field. A almost big wreck entering turn number 1. Clint Boyer takes up second position with that mistake. Brad Keselowski now running in third. It looked like a good maneuver to try and push your way out front, but they hooked up in the wrong way as now the 48 car up into the outside wall. Caution flag is out. Alex Bowman hard into the wall in the 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports. The field still 4 wide, back down to the caution flag. In the race back to the start-finish line, it was the 61 of Christopher Bell, your leader, above the 14 of Clint Boyer, 88 of Brad Keselowski, 2 of Matt DiBenedetto, and 20 of Brandon Jones. So this initially looked like a good idea. The 2 and 21 cars hooked up, pushing their way past Clint Boyer to take up second and third. However, under braking, the 2 makes contact with the 21, turns Cindric onto the apron, and fortunately, he gets that car wound up in time to where he does not make any contact with anyone after that. However, because most of the field had to check up because of the 21 car sliding up in front of the pack, you see a couple cars get put up into the outside wall. The 48 makes contact with the 77. They're going 5 wide right there with Austin Dillon all the way down on the bottom. 47 and 48 cars squeeze each other up into the outside wall. Alex Bowman gets turned around and slides right up in front of the field. But fortunately, no worse damage on the 48 car, believe it or not. So everyone involved in these few separate incidents is still in the race. And so now we have a split in pit strategy. Christopher Bell, your race leader, stays out, while Boyer, Keselowski, DiBenedetto, Brandon Jones, and actually most of the field have decided to hit pit road. However, the 17 of Chris Buescher will also be staying out with Christopher Bell, so they will assume first and second. 61 out front, 17 car in second position. And after running only a couple laps under green, there's really not that much of a point in coming down pit road this time by. So really, Justin Haley, Ross Chastain, Quinn Half, and I believe that is Michael McDowell, who will also be staying out. No, that's Anthony Alfredo, the defending winner at Sonoma. It will not really be that much of a disadvantage staying out right here because we've only got 3 laps in under green. So these guys are coming down pit road potentially to get farther on their fuel number. As the first car out of the pits is the 88 of Brad Keselowski, getting out in front of Clint Boyer, Matt DiBenedetto, Ryan Newman, Harrison Burton, and Kyle Larson. If we would have got, say, 30 laps into the run, pitting right now would have been a good idea because tires are very crucial here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The surface has started to wear out. It does, in fact, chew up tires. However, after just a couple laps under green, this is likely fuel strategy for the drivers who came down pit road this time by. And now the pace car ducks onto pit road. Christopher Bell in the number 61 for Hattori Racing Enterprises leads the field down to the restart zone on lap 6. Green flag. 17 of Chris Buescher trying to jump up to the outside of the 61. Now cuts back in line as the 61 moved up the racetrack. Here comes Justin Haley to the inside of the 17 of Chris Buescher. Haley in his first full-time Cup Series season, side by side with Buescher for the second spot. He has the 40 of Quinn Half coming with him as Haley takes up the second position. Quite a bit of young talent out front. Christopher Bell, Justin Haley, Quinn Half, that's your top 3 right there. A bit of a mistake with bumping right there as the 88 car of Brad Keselowski tried to shove the 55 entering turn number 1. Almost turned him around in a similar situation as what we saw earlier with Austin Cindric, but fortunately they kept it together. They're still, in fact, pushing down the back straightaway. Keselowski trying to move the 55 car up off the bottom, but Chastain is holding his lane. Quinn Half now into second position for Chip Ganassi Racing. Christopher Bell doing a good job at staying out front. As here comes Brad Keselowski back down to the inside of the 55. Keselowski takes up the position. He is now the highest running car on fresh tires. Also, Brandon Jones follows suit down on the inside to move his way back up into the top 5. Jones has the 12 of Ryan Blaney in line behind him. Christopher Bell is actually checking out in front of the second place runner Quinn Half. Here comes Justin Haley back down to the inside of the 40. Remember that Spire Motorsports and Colleague Racing partnered this season to field that 77 for Haley. Now moving up into second position, they are getting technical support from Hendrick Motorsports. But now down the back straightaway, Brad Keselowski side by side for second. And now Keselowski takes up the position. And also Ryan Blaney side drafted the 77 on the exit of turn number 4. He takes up third position. Now Brandon Jones into fourth. Denny Hamlin 3 wide down on the inside of the 17 and 40 cars, taking up 2 positions with that move. Defending Pennzoil 400 winner, Daniel Suarez now starting to carve his way through the field as well. And now the pack has caught up to the 61 of Christopher Bell. Brad Keselowski within a car length of that number 61 car, but he is being hounded by former teammate Ryan Blaney. Here comes Blaney down to the inside of the 88. He backed off just a little bit early, but he's backing up the corner, trying to get momentum on the exit. And now Blaney's going to take up the second position. The regular season champion of last year has yet to win a race in the 2021 season, and now he has his teammate Matt DiBenedetto following suit into third position. It looks like now they're going to be battling side by side onto the front straightaway. But Blaney cuts him off. Now Ryan Blaney holding the second position. Brandon Jones up to the outside to try and get around the two of Matt DiBenedetto. Couldn't quite do it, as DiBenedetto still trying to go side by side with Blaney. But it looks like Blaney's going to hold that second position, at least down the back straightaway. Tries to cut down in front of his teammate. Couldn't quite do it. They're still side by side, and this is exactly what Christopher Bell wants to see in his mirror. Now Matt DiBenedetto into second position. Brad Keselowski right up to the back bumper. And now to the inside. Keselowski going for second position once again. And look at these two on the inside line. It is Keselowski and Denny Hamlin. Those two have both been placed on probation until the end of the season. If they run into each other one more time, expect them both to be suspended. However, right now they're keeping things orderly. A little bit of contact right there between the 11 and 88. Hamlin forced the 88 car up off the inside line. A huge save by the 2 car of Matt DiBenedetto, having to catch a push from the 12 of Ryan Blaney. His teammates ran into each other right there. Brandon Jones on the inside of the 11. Gibbs' teammates battling for second. Brandon Jones is going to take up the spot. He's got some help coming from Keselowski, as Christopher Bell still out front. In fact, he has gapped the second-place runner of Jones by about half a second. Greg Biffle in the 69 for Gaunt Brothers, now getting his way around Denny Hamlin in the 11. Here comes Keselowski back down on the inside, going for second. Keselowski's going to take up the position, and he has quickly closed the gap up to the 61 of Christopher Bell. On the inside line, here comes the 12 of Ryan Blaney, back to being side by side with the 88 of Brad Keselowski. And Blaney quickly takes up the second position. He has a run coming on the 61 of Christopher Bell, trying to take up the top spot as he's running down the 61. Within a car length on the exit of turn 2, but here comes Martin Truex Jr. rolling great momentum on the inside line as Greg Biffle has taken up the 4th position. Here comes Truex side by side with the 12, Martin Truex Jr. in the second spot. And Denny Hamlin has taken up the 4th position. Now side by side entering turn number 1, Denny Hamlin on the inside, Ryan Blaney up on the outside. Hamlin takes up the 3rd position. Toyota 1, 2, 3, and now Brandon Jones on the inside makes it a top 4 sweep for the manufacturer. 3 Gibbs Toyotas, but Hattori Racing Enterprises currently paces the field. It's worth noting that Eric Jones is not having a very good run in tonight's Pennzoil 400. Currently resides in 29th position, now being passed by the 50 of Kaz Gralla, dropping back to 30th. But also, Joey Logano and Chase Elliott have been having very terrible runs throughout tonight's race. Side by side for second, Denny Hamlin on the inside of Truex. Hamlin takes up the 2nd position. Ryan Blaney back into 3rd spot. Daniel Suarez now into 5th. Getting a run on the inside, the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. But now here comes Brad Keselowski trying to make it work on the inside, the 00. Can't quite do it, and now Hamlin side by side for the top spot. Denny Hamlin takes away the race lead off of Christopher Bell. On lap 20, we have our first lead change. Hamlin, your new race leader. Ryan Blaney now trying to follow suit to take up second. Brandon Jones 3 wide on the inside of Greg Biffle and Daniel Suarez trying to make up spots. Suarez backed out as he almost got ran up into the marbles. And now Kyle Busch starting to carve his way through the field in the 18 Stanley Camry. Oh, Busch puts the bumper to his teammate. Brandon Jones almost forces Jones up into the outside wall. And that opened up the door for Justin Haley down on the inside. Brad Keselowski side by side with Martin Truex Jr. entering turn 1. Keselowski is going to take up the 3rd position. Greg Biffle getting around the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Looks like he's going to take up 4th position. It's important to note that ever since Greg Biffle left Roush at the end of 2016, his 2 Cup Series starts since came for Joe Gibbs Racing and Gaunt Brothers, and he finished 8th and 4th. And right now he's running in 4th position in his 3rd start since driving that number 16. he may be a actual contender for a full-time ride next season. As now, Brad Keselowski's taken up second. Greg Biffle will take up third, following suit down on the inside. A great run so far for the Gaunt brothers, as the 96 currently resides pretty far in the back. Martin Truex Jr. on the inside of the 12 car of Ryan Blaney just took up the fourth position. Your top 5 includes 4 Toyotas. Right now, Bubba Wallace is dead last, 21 seconds back after being involved in that crash with the 48 of Alex Bowman. He is the only car that is very significantly off the pace from that incident. With less than 10 laps to go, look at the two drivers battling for the stage number 1 victory. It's Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski. I wouldn't have it any other way. As now Martin Truex Jr. has just taken up the third position off of Greg Biffle in the 69. Christopher Bell on the inside of Biffle. He is going to take up the fourth position in the 61 for HRE. Matt Benedetto, most recent winner in the Cup Series level, even knowing it was an exhibition event, just got around Biffle as well in the 2 car for Team Penske, taking up the 5th running position and now trying to take up 4th off of the 61 of Bell. Now a battle side by side for second. Martin Truex Jr. going to the inside of Brad Keselowski. And it looks like Truex is going to be able to take up the spot. Christopher Bell down the back straightaway sides with the 88 of Keselowski. They're really able to roll good momentum on that top lane, but Truex dives in on the bottom and takes up the second position. Matt DiBenedetto getting around the 61 as well, now side by side with the 88. And the 2 car of Matt DiBenedetto just took up third, getting around Brad Keselowski. That's going to slow up the 88 car's momentum just a little bit and allow the 12 car of Blaney to close the gap. Greg Biffle getting around the pole sitter Christopher Bell through turns 3 and 4. The lap car of Bubba Wallace is about half a straightaway in front of race leader Denny Hamlin. Ironically enough, Hamlin is co-owner of that 23 car. Entering turn number 1, the 19 closed the gap just a little bit, but the 2 car backed up his corner entry. Matt DiBenedetto into second. Down the front straightaway, Ryan Blaney has just now taken up the 3rd running position off of the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., but Brandon Jones already pressuring the 12 car entering turn number 1. Finding some grip on one of the much lower lanes. Had his left sides, in fact, beneath the seam separating the inside middle lanes. That's one of the lowest lines I've seen be taken through the course of tonight's race. The 20 car of Brandon Jones, by the way, has rebounded very well ever since being almost put up into the wall by his teammate Kyle Busch. It's going to be interesting to see how those two race each other over the course of tonight's event, as here comes a battle for the lead. Matt DiBenedetto on the inside of Denny Hamlin. DiBenedetto now back out front at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He has his teammate Ryan Blaney taking up the 2nd position. Just a few laps to go in stage number 1. Hamlin starting to drop back. The 20 of Brandon Jones into 3rd position. Lap traffic will be up in front of the leaders very soon. In fact, there's the 23 car of Wallace, as now we have once again a battle for the top spot. Teammates going forward as we have Blaney side by side with DiBenedetto. Biffle just went 3 wide on the inside and took up the 4th position. Blaney now out front. Brandon Jones resides in 3rd position. The field is soon going to have to figure out a way around the 23 car of Bubba Wallace, as the 20 of Brandon Jones has just taken up 2nd. Now just 2 laps to go in stage number 1. 23 car of Wallace right up in front of race leader Ryan Blaney. Blaney looks down to the inside, entering turn number 3. Outside lane gets stalled up just a little bit by the 23 car, but Blaney quickly gets by. Greg Biffle gets stalled out just a little bit. 1 lap to go in stage number 1. Brandon Jones is within striking distance, but just a little bit too far back as he gets a slightly slower exit of turn number 2. Entering turn 3, the 12 car Blaney has about a 3 car length separation above the 20. 19 cars starting to drop back. Hamlin moving up into 3rd, and Ryan Blaney will win stage number 1 at Las Vegas. Blaney is your stage number 1 winner above Brandon Jones in the 20, the 11 car of Denny Hamlin, the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., and your pole sitter, Christopher Bell, in the 61 for Hattori Racing Enterprises, rounding out your top 5. And now, after just a quick commercial break, we'll be right here back at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the beginning of stage number 2. NASCAR on Speed Station is being brought to you by RFJ, the official home of the RFJ AI series, by Knife Friend 725, the brains behind Project Retroval, and by Anthony's Online Simulation League. And so now Ryan Blaney is leading all of the lead lap field into the pits. And the first car off of pit road is Ryan Blaney, getting out in front of Denny Hamlin, then Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., and Matt DiBenedetto, rounding out your top 5. And now the pace car hits pit road. Ryan Blaney leading the field down into the restart zone for the start of stage number 2. And there's the green flag. Blaney gets a huge jump on the restart above Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch already starting to fan out to try and find a way around quite a few cars up on the outside line. Here comes your pole sitter, Christopher Bell, on the inside of Denny Hamlin. Bell back up into second position. Down on the inside, we have the 20 of Brandon Jones getting around the 2 of Matt DiBenedetto as well. 19 of Truex right up to the back bumper of the 61, now side by side for second. Truex in the position. We got a car coming down pit road. I believe that may have been the 50 of Kaz Gralla into the pits, likely for a flat tire. Here comes the 20 of Brandon Jones, side drafting his teammate Martin Truex Jr. down the back straightaway. Jones up into second, and there is his teammate Kyle Busch, now running in third position. Greg Biffle down on the inside line. Following suit, looks like he's going to get around the 19 car Martin Truex Jr. Now side by side for the top spot goes Brandon Jones on the inside of Ryan Blaney. Jones takes the race lead down the back straightaway. Everyone's been watching out for this team. We figured that they would show remarkable speed early in the season after finishing 6th in points last season for Extreme Concepts and winning a race at Pocono. You would have expected Brandon Jones to get with Gibbs and show initial success. However, it has taken all the way up to race 11 here at Las Vegas to get this team out front at a non-super speedway. And now side by side, Denny Hamlin trying to take up second off his teammate Kyle Busch. Greg Biffle on the inside, the 12 of Ryan Blaney. He's going to take up the 4th position. And Brad Keselowski on the inside of the 61, trying to carve his way through the field. Almost contact between the 3 and 77 cars of Dylan and Justin Haley on the exit of turn number 4. Now 3 wide entering turn 1 as the 00 goes to the inside of the 17 and 19 cars. Truex quickly dropping back. And Greg Biffle has just taken up the 3rd position off the 18 car of Kyle Busch. 11 car of Hamlin starting to run down the 20 of Brandon Jones as well. But here comes Biffle with a huge amount of momentum to the inside of the 11. Going side by side for second. Greg Biffle has taken up the 2nd position for Gaunt Brothers Racing, trying to chase down the 20 of Brandon Jones. And I'll tell you what, Greg Biffle has brought this team exactly what they needed. A driver with a lot of experience, has several career wins at NASCAR's top level. He has taken this team from being around a 20th position contender to now running in 2nd, chasing down a Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota for the top spot. Here comes Matt DiBenedetto. Shoots down to the inside to try and get around the 11 and 61 cars. Greg Biffle already being put up to the outside line by the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Blaney taking up the 2nd spot. Brandon Jones still holding your race lead. Much like the All-Star race, with the exception of that first couple lap crash, we have gone relatively caution-free over the course of the Pennzoil 400. Because this track is so wide, with the exception of the start of the race where we start double file, you can always normally figure out a way around someone without having to make contact with them, so you don't see too many accidents here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway over the course of green flag runs. Here comes the 12 of Blaney right up to the back bumper of the 20 of Brandon Jones. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin also getting around the 61 of Christopher Bell. Blaney still resides in second, with now Brad Keselowski running in third. Keselowski leaps and bounds ahead of his fellow Hendrick Motorsports teammates. In fact, William Byron resides in 18th, and the 9 and 48 cars reside all the way back in the 30s. As Brad Keselowski has just taken up the second position off the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Keselowski looking for his first Cup Series win since the championship race last season. The 2 car of Matt DiBenedetto has just taken up third, Hamlin into fourth, and the 18 car of Kyle Busch on the inside of the 12 as well, taking up the 5th position as Blaney is quickly dropping back. Now we have a battle side by side for second. Matt DiBenedetto on the inside of Brad Keselowski. DiBenedetto is going to take up the second position. Keselowski being side drafted by Hamlin. Denny Hamlin moves up into the third position. As Greg Biffle has just taken up 5th. And how about this? The closer, Kevin Harvick, starting to carve his way through the field, although he is being put 3 wide by your pole sitter, Christopher Bell, on the inside. 4 car of Harvick trying to make his way into the top 5, but he just got shuffled back by the 61 of Christopher Bell. Greg Biffle side by side with the 88 car as Matt DiBenedetto's taken up second above Hamlin, and now Biffle into 4th. Brandon Jones doing a great job at keeping that 20 car out front, searching for his second career Cup Series victory. Hamlin side by side with DiBenedetto on the front straightaway. Hamlin up into second. But the crossover, here comes DiBenedetto back to the inside of Hamlin. Hamlin was not given very much time to enjoy second position as DiBenedetto back into that spot. Greg Biffle on the inside of Hamlin. He's going to take up third. Biffle is by far one of your best examples of a competitive part-time team at NASCAR's top level. Normally you see competitive part-timers in Xfinity and the Camping World Truck Series. You don't normally see it too often in Cup. And here comes the 2 car of Matt DiBenedetto. Gets the run to the inside of the 20 of Brandon Jones. Now side by side down the back straightaway. DiBenedetto takes up the top spot off the 20 of Brandon Jones. Jones drops down to second. Fortunately gets back in line. He has the 69 of Greg Biffle all over his back bumper. Now here comes Biffle to the inside. Now side by side for second position. Greg Biffle is going to take up the spot on the exit of turn number 2. Hamlin and Keselowski side by side once again. Hamlin trying to take up the 4th position off the 88. He really sends it in all the way down on the bottom. 61 of Christopher Bell also getting around Brad Keselowski. And Chris Buescher has done a great job at carving his way through the field. Ryan Newman in the 6 car for Roush Fenway Racing, however, has not had quite such a good run over the course of tonight's race. He currently resides 35th in the running order. Very big difference between the 2 Roush Fenway Fords, as Buescher's just gotten around the 88 of Brad Keselowski, taking up the 6th position. Buescher recently looks like he is going to win a race sometime very soon because he has been running very consistently up front, and if luck goes his way, Chris Buescher might end up sitting in victory lane sometime over the course of this season. And now Denny Hamlin has just taken up second position off of Greg Biffle in the 69. Matt DiBenedetto still out front, trying to sweep the races here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He won last week in the All-Star race, now trying to win the Pennzoil 400. As down on the inside, Chris Buescher taking up the 5th position off of Brandon Jones. Also Justin Haley doing a great job carving his way through the field. Down on the inside, here comes the 61 of Christopher Bell pressuring Greg Biffle. Bell side by side with Biffle down the back straightaway. And it looks like Christopher Bell is going to take up the 3rd position entering turn number 3. You know, the fact that Newman has been running so far in the back recently, as compared especially to his teammate Chris Buescher, who resides in the top 5, that has been fueling the fire of retirement rumors. Obviously, Newman running in 35th here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Chris Buescher running in 5th. That's 30 cars in between those two, and they are running with the same setup and same equipment. So that is what has really been leading to all the rumors of Ryan Newman's retirement. He has yet to announce any plans for next season, and his contract comes to a conclusion at the end of this year. So I would likely expect to see Newman either elsewhere or in some sort of management or team ownership role next season. Here comes Greg Biffle side by side with Christopher Bell once again. These two have been battling repeatedly for the third running position, as Denny Hamlin still trying to run down that 2 of Matt DiBenedetto in the closing laps of stage number 2. Biffle on the inside looks like he is going to take up third spot at the start-finish line. Chris Buescher, if he can close the gap, might be able to take advantage of this as well, as now we have a battle for the top spot entering turn number 1. Denny Hamlin side by side with Matt DiBenedetto. Hamlin takes up the top spot down the back straightaway. After winning earlier this season at Circuit of the Americas, Hamlin trying to be the first driver to score 2 wins on the season. But DiBenedetto not giving up, right up to the back bumper of the 11 car in the exit of turn number 4. In fact, possibly pushing him on the front straightaway, now to the inside. Entering turn number 1, Matt DiBenedetto back into the top spot. Greg Biffle also ready to take advantage of these two battling. Biffle in the 69 gets up to the back bumper, the 2 of DiBenedetto, pushing their way past the 11, as the 17 of Chris Buescher has also taken up the 4th position, now trying to take up 3rd as they exit turn number 4. In the closing laps of stage number 2, Greg Biffle is in position to try and win it. Entering turn number 1, 69 car can turn just a little bit lower than that 2. Trying to force DiBenedetto up the racetrack. Chris Buescher dropping back just a little bit, but still resides in 3rd position. The 20 of Brandon Jones in 4th. Buescher runs it just a little bit too hard on the entry to turn 1. Lets the 20 of Jones to his inside. Biffle still within a car length of the 2 car of Matt DiBenedetto, but can't seem to get around him. Hamlin gets around the 17 of Buescher as well. Hamlin back up into 4th. Austin Dillon in the 3 car has made his way well up into the top 10. Currently resides 5th in points entering tonight's event. Biffle starting to move up the racetrack just a little bit, searching for any grip that he can find to try and get around the 2 car. But here comes the 20 of Brandon Jones to the inside. And now Brandon Jones into 2nd. The 11 battling side by side with the 69 for 3rd position. Brandon Jones really starting to gain a lot of momentum on the 2 cars. We have a lap car right up in front of the leaders, about half a straightaway ahead. It's the 48 of Alex Bowman. Here comes Brandon Jones to the inside of the 2 car of Matt DiBenedetto. Side by side entering turn number 3. Brandon Jones is going to take up the top spot through turns 3 and 4. As Denny Hamlin has now taken up the 2nd position, just 2 laps to go in stage number 2. Penske battle for 3rd position. Ryan Blaney takes up that spot. Slides up the racetrack just a little bit. There's the lap car of Alex Bowman. Looks like the leaders will get to him before the end of this stage. Now exiting turn number 4, Brandon Jones sees the white flag in stage number 2. Hamlin just about 2 car lengths behind. And Ryan Blaney slides up the racetrack just a little bit. That's going to close the gap up to the 69 of Greg Biffle. Brandon Jones still out front by a couple car lengths above the 11 car of Hamlin. Here comes Biffle to the inside of the 12. Biffle's going to take up 3rd position as Brandon Jones will win stage number 2 at Las Vegas. And surprisingly, they did not lap the number 48 of Alex Bowman. He remains on the lead lap. So Brandon Jones wins stage number 2 above Denny Hamlin. Greg Biffle with a great 3rd place run. Brad Keselowski took 4th, and 5th was taken by Ryan Blaney, the stage number 1 winner. And so now, after just a quick commercial break, we will be back right here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the beginning of the final stage. NASCAR on Speed Station is being brought to you by RFJ, the official home of the RFJ AI series. By Knife Friend 725, the brains behind Project Retroval. and by Anthony's Online Simulation League. And so now Brandon Jones leads the entire lead lap field into the pits. And we have a lead change off of pit road. Denny Hamlin has taken up the top spot, getting off pit road in first above Brandon Jones, the stage number 2 winner. Then Greg Biffle in the 69, the 88 of Brad Keselowski, and the 3 car of Austin Dillon taking up 5th. Right now we only have 3 cars 1 lap down. The 23 of Bubba Wallace after getting crash damage early on in today's race, and the 50 and 77 cars of Gralla and Justin Haley, as those two have both had tire failures over the course of today's running that dropped them 1 lap down. As you can tell, Gralla and Wallace both hit pit road, but Justin Haley will be staying out, which means that he will be starting ahead of the race leader, Denny Hamlin. And now the pace car hits pit road. Denny Hamlin leading the lead lap field into the restart zone for the start of the final stage here at Las Vegas. Green flag. Already Hamlin trying to jump up to the outside of Justin Haley. It looks like he's going to be able to quickly clear that number 77. Haley well off the pace on the restart. His hopes of getting back onto the lead lap seem to be dwindling very, very quickly, as the 20 car of Brandon Jones right on the back bumper of the 11 car of Hamlin, trying to find his way back out front, as the 77 is really stalling out the field farther back. A little bit of contact right there between the 40 and 77. Austin Dillon on the pit road in the 3 car for Richard Childress Racing. 4 wide in the back. Christopher Bell, your pole sitter, jumped up all the way to the outside to try and figure out a way around the 77. In fact, he is still stuck in line behind Haley. He has to catch it on the exit of turn number 2. Almost lost it. And Christopher Bell has lost a lot of track position, having to slow up for the 77. And the yellow flag is out. Caution flag has been displayed on the speedway. Denny Hamlin is your race leader. Above Brandon Jones, Greg Biffle, who moved his way up into 3rd. Then Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney is your top 5. Jan Magnussen actually raced his way into 6th position, and Daniel Suarez moved up into 7th, trying to go 2 in a row here at Las Vegas. Through turns 3 and 4, the number 53 car slows up just a little bit on the exit of the corner. 96 of Herring puts the bumper to him. That moves the 53 car up the racetrack, slows down the 96. Alfredo makes contact with Herring, turning him up into the 53 car once again. Sliding down the front straightaway, fully gets turned around by the 53. Also, Chris Buescher involved in this one after having a great run through the course of today's race. Herring's spin is why we are now under caution. It's also important to note that while Austin Dillon was coming down pit road, that's when the crash was happening. We also had one more car in the pits. It was the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., who is now out of the race due to an engine failure. And so now we have a split in pit strategy. Race leader Denny Hamlin brings the 11 car on the pit road, as well as Brad Keselowski. So that means Brandon Jones is now your race leader above Greg Biffle, Ryan Blaney, Jan Magnussen, and Daniel Suarez. Also on the pit road is the 14 of Clint Boyer, the 42 of Justin Allgaier, and the 26 of Tyler Ankrum. Some interesting strategy going on right now. You know, Kurt Busch seems to have alternating seasons. Back in 2019, he had a very off year. He did not win a race. He did not make the playoffs. Then, in 2020, he had a 2-win season and almost won the championship in Atlanta. Well, this year, guess what? He's kind of started to regress again. That one car really has not been up front in very many races over the course of the year. Given the fact that this is a contract year for Kurt Busch, the next few races may make or break a contract extension. Because right now, he has not won a race on the season. He currently resides around the 20th position in tonight's race. He needs to figure out a way to find consistency and success once again, like he had late in the 2020 season that almost led to him scoring a 2nd title. And now the pace car ducks on a pit road. Brandon Jones leading the field down to the restart zone on lap number 77. Green flag. Magnussen already jumping up to the outside, trying to figure out a way around the 12 of Ryan Blaney. But that has allowed his teammate Suarez to cut down to the bottom. Blaney moves up the hill just a little bit as well. Suarez now runs in 4th, now challenging the 12 car of Blaney for 3rd. Now Ryan Blaney side by side with Greg Biffle on the exit of turn number 4. Blaney taking up the 2nd position. Daniel Suarez into third. Suarez, as we've mentioned numerous times, going for his second Pennzoil 400 victory, and he has not won a Cup Series race in more than a season. Ryan Blaney looking for his first win of the season, as well as the 20 of Brandon Jones. Here comes Suarez side by side for the second position through turns 3 and 4. And now Daniel Suarez takes up the second position. Greg Biffle following suit to take up third. Here comes Biffle, though, already to the inside of the 00, trying to pressure Suarez just a little bit. Suarez moving up the racetrack on the exit of turn number 2. 3 wide racing farther in the back. Kevin Harvick cutting his way through the field, as well as the 61 of Christopher Bell. And how about this? A pretty decent run going for the 24 of William Byron and the 37 of Eric Jones. We were worried about him earlier on in tonight's race, but now he has raced his way up into the top 10. That team is a legitimate championship contender this season. They never give up, even if they're having a bad run. Biffle almost puts the bumper to the 00 of Suarez. Greg Biffle taking up second. Entering turn number 3, we have the 12 of Ryan Blaney. He's going to take up third off the 00 as well. And how about this run for Cole Custer? Custer running in the top 5 for the first time this season. Joe Illigano now side by side with that 41. Looks like he's going to take up 5th, and he is still searching for his first win in more than one season. Quinn Half also starting to carve his way back through the field, right up to the back bumper, the 37 of Eric Jones. Here comes Half, 3 wide on the inside of both Jones and Custer. A very aggressive move through turns 3 and 4, but he takes up 2 more positions with that maneuver. 43 of Myatt Snyder has actually raced his way into 5th position. A great run for Richard Petty Motorsports. But if you want to talk about upsets, how about Greg Biffle running in second for the Gaunt brothers, as the 96 car has gotten in trouble numerous times over the course of tonight's race, but that 69 resides in second still. A very consistent run throughout tonight's Pennzoil 400. Quinn Half has raced his way into 6th position, trying to run down the 43 of Myatt Snyder for the 5th spot. Remember, if we get no more cautions, pretty much every single driver in the field is going to have to make at least one more pit stop. Down on the inside, Greg Biffle going for the top spot. Biffle out front at Las Vegas. Ryan Blaney taking up second as the Stage 1 and 2 winners battle for that position. Brandon Jones starting to drop back. Daniel Suarez will take up the 3rd spot. Here comes Blaney trying to pressure Greg Biffle entering turn number 1. Biffle moves up the racetrack just a little bit. Blaney side by side for the top spot exiting turn number 2. And Ryan Blaney takes it. Blaney out front in the 12 car once again. Daniel Suarez trying to take advantage of the 69 car moving up the racetrack. Side drafts him on the exit of turn 4. And now Suarez trying to take up second. Biffle almost lost it entering turn number 1. He was being pressured by the 20 of Brandon Jones. Now Jones into 3rd. Biffle in 4th. Magnuson has gotten around the 40 of Quinn Half, but once again another crossover. Half back down to the inside of Magnuson. A great run for those two so far. Also the 37 of Eric Jones to the inside of Jan Magnuson, trying to make his way into 8th position. Here comes Brandon Jones on the inside of Daniel Suarez. Jones is going to take up second. Your 2 stage winners, 1st and 2nd at the moment. Here comes Greg Biffle back down to the inside of the 20 of Brandon Jones. Biffle going for 2nd. Biffle into 2nd spot. The 61 of Christopher Bell starting to carve his way back through the field. Harvick once again, 3 wide on the bottom. Harvick gets around Magnuson and currently pressuring the 47 of Stenhouse down the back straightaway. 69 side by side with the 12. Greg Biffle back out front. Daniel Suarez resides in 3rd, now side by side for 2nd. Joe Logano just muscled his way to the inside of Denny Hamlin on the exit of turn number 4. And now Suarez takes up the 2nd position. with Greg Biffle out front, trying to score his first Cup Series win since 2013. Back when he won for Roush Fenway Racing at Michigan. He is actually nearing the record that Bill Elliott holds of longest distance between two race wins, as Brandon Jones has just taken up third off of Myatt Snyder. Here comes Suarez to the inside of Greg Biffle. Daniel Suarez back out front at Las Vegas. Quinn Half running in fourth position in the 40 for Chip Ganassi Racing. Half and Allgaier have really been the front runners for Chip Ganassi Racing this season. Kurt Busch has rapidly dropped off this year in the one car. And Kevin Harvick, the point leader entering tonight's event, and the closer, currently resides in sixth position. He normally does not run up front over the course of Stage 1, Stage 2, but he is definitely a threat in the final stage of these Cup Series events. Now side by side for the top spot once again. Biffle going for it up against Suarez. And Greg Biffle takes up the top spot on the exit of turn number 4. Look at Kevin Harvick. He has now raced his way up into fifth position. Harvick has several wins at this racetrack himself. Now into fourth, getting around Suarez, and now challenging the 40 of Quinn Half. Half as well starting to run down the number 20 of Brandon Jones. Harrison Burton in the number 95 has started to carve his way through the field as well. Getting bumped right there by the 11 car of Hamlin, but he did not budge. Now side by side for that position. Harvick in the third position in the 4 car for Stewart-Haas Racing. Brandon Jones on the inside of Biffle. Oh, Harvick gets moved up into the outside wall as well as the 12 car of Blaney. A very dicey moment entering turn number 1 as Brandon Jones takes the race lead. Jones out front above Biffle. And now the third place runner of Daniel Suarez, as Ryan Blaney has lost about 15 or 20 spots by getting up into the outside wall. So this was just an accordion effect entering turn number 1. 61 is pushing the 12. 12 is pushing the 4. Bell does not lift in time. He shoves the 12 car Blaney up into the outside wall. The momentum transfer puts the 4 car almost into the wall as well. And Suarez takes advantage of that by passing about 5 cars by missing it. Denny Hamlin on the inside of the 43 of Myatt Snyder. Hamlin has just made his way back up into the top 5 as Quinn Half now starting to try and carve his way back through the field after having to check up for the 4 and 12 cars, almost wrecking in turn number 1. The 69 of Greg Biffle is able to turn down just about half a car length lower than the 20 of Brandon Jones through turns 1 and 2. Trying to go side by side down the back straightaway. Now to the inside. Here comes Biffle. Biffle takes up the top spot on the exit of turn number 4. Daniel Suarez resides in third still as Denny Hamlin gets around the 4 car of Kevin Harvick. Daniel Suarez on the inside of Brandon Jones. Suarez now taking up second. Hamlin trying to carve his way through the field. Now up into third. Suarez just a little bit slower in the 11 car of Hamlin right now. Hamlin right up to the back bumper down the front straightaway. Trying to make his move to the inside. Now entering turn number 1. Denny Hamlin back into second. Greg Biffle, however, has gapped the second place runner by about 3 car lengths as the 4 car of Kevin Harvick has just taken up third position. 20 of Brandon Jones on the inside moves up into fourth. Christopher Bell takes up fifth. Here comes Hamlin. He's trying to make the look already to the inside of the 69 of Biffle. Trying to pressure him on the exit of turn number 2. Side by side down the backstretch. Hamlin takes up the top spot entering turn number 3. Brandon Jones has just taken up the third position, getting around Harvick. And now Toyota once again holds the top 4 running positions. Here comes Brandon Jones to the inside of Greg Biffle. Brad Keselowski also pressuring the 61. Jones into second. Keselowski trying to follow suit to potentially take up third as he is now side by side with Greg Biffle. And the 88 car now into third position. Myatt Snyder trying to carve his way through the field as well. Bell and Biffle side by side for fourth. It's Bell to take the spot. And Brandon Jones has gotten right up to the back bumper of Denny Hamlin. Now shoots it down on the inside. Entering turn number 3, Brandon Jones back out front at Las Vegas. Hamlin and Keselowski once again side by side on the front straightaway. Keselowski on the inside, taking up the second position. Christopher Bell moving into third in the 61 after winning the pole, trying to win the race, just like what Eric Jones did in the All-Star Open. Here comes Bell on the inside of Brad Keselowski. Christopher Bell back up into second. Myatt Snyder trying to take advantage of the slowing number 88 car of Keselowski, attempting to make his way into fourth position. The last time that Richard Petty Motorsports won a NASCAR Cup Series race was all the way back in 2014, a rain race which was won by Eric Almirola. In fact, this would only be the second win by the number 43 at NASCAR's top level in the 21st century, as strange as that may sound, because you have to look back to 1999 to find the second most recent win for the 43 car, and that was a win by John Andretti at Martinsville, as Snyder's just taken up the third position. But here comes a crossover by Brad Keselowski to the inside. Keselowski is going to take up the third running position. Denny Hamlin still trying to run down his teammate, Brandon Jones. And if you're curious about the lap traffic situation, about a quarter of the racetrack up in front of race leader Brandon Jones, we have the 53 of Briscoe, the 55 of Chastain, 77 of Haley, and 6 of Newman, all running in a gaggle. So once they get up to lap traffic, it's going to be definitely a challenge to get around them. It's also important to note that the 50 car of Kaz Gralla is one lap down, but has actually started to quickly cut his way through the field as well. So he may be a factor up front by being simply faster than the race leaders. Here comes the 11 of Denny Hamlin, tried to get down to the inside of the 20, but guess who was pushing him? The 88 car of Keselowski, so the 11 of Hamlin actually had to back up his corner entry. 00 and 61 cars side by side. Daniel Suarez will move up into the fourth position. And I imagine that NASCAR officials are keeping a close watch on the 88 and 11 cars. Right now they've been racing clean, rather aggressively, but they have kept it clean. Greg Biffle currently resides in fifth position after getting around the 61 of Christopher Bell. The 33 of Jan Magnussen also resides in eighth spot. And the 21 of Austin Cindric, after almost wrecking very early in tonight's race, has raced his way back up into ninth for the Wood brothers. Quite a few stories of rebounding drivers throughout tonight's event. Here comes Jan Magnussen on the inside of the 43 of Myatt Snyder. And now we have a battle for position between Greg Biffle and Daniel Suarez. Biffle trying to take up the fourth position. Looks like he has got it. Lap traffic up in front of the leaders, about half a straightaway ahead of them. We'll have to certainly keep our eyes on that in the final stage. 11 car of Hamlin starting to drop back from the back bumper of the 20 just a little bit. That's going to let Brad Keselowski close the gap. On the front straightaway, the 21 of Austin Cindric side by side with a 33 of Jan Magnussen. Cindric's going to take up the position. Brad Keselowski still trying to figure out a way around the 11 car of Hamlin. They almost make contact through turns 3 and 4. Keselowski back up into second. Keselowski going to try and figure out a way to close the gap up to the 20 of Brandon Jones. Jones, who has led the majority of tonight's event after getting out front, has a very good handling number 20 car, but it seems to kind of fall off over the course of the run. Greg Biffle on the inside of Denny Hamlin. Biffle's going to take up the third position in the 69. The 43 of Myatt Snyder has hit pit road, so that now opens up the cycle of green flag pit stops. 61 almost shoved the 11 car of Hamlin a little bit too hard entering turn number 1. We have not been able to talk about the 18 car of Kyle Busch too much over the course of the night. He has not been out front very much, but he has finally raced his way back into 10th position. 88 car of Brad Keselowski really closed the gap on the 20 of Brandon Jones. Now side by side for the top spot on the front straightaway. a bunch of lap cars right up in front of them. Keselowski back out front at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He is a winner at this facility in the past. Trying to win here once again and score his first career win in the Cup level for Hendrick Motorsports. He won with them in a developmental program at Talladega back in 2009, but that was with Phoenix Racing and James Finch as the car owner. He has never won for Rick Hendrick himself as the team owner. Greg Biffle side by side with Brandon Jones. Biffle takes up second. And now Keselowski in the thick of the lap traffic, getting around the 53 of Chase Briscoe rather cleanly. Now has to deal with the 55 and 77. Looks like he will easily clear those two as well. Brandon Jones dropping back just a little bit. Looks like he will fall down to 5th position. Biffle still resides in 2nd. Hamlin in 3rd. Bell in 4th. And now Jones resides in 5th. Daniel Suarez runs in 6th. And Austin Cindric has actually raced his way back into 7th. Now just 20 laps to go. Here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the gap between 1st and 2nd is just 2 car lengths, separating the 88 and 69. 21 car of Austin Cindric running very low down the back straightaway, trying to get around Magnussen and Haley. And also taking advantage of that is Kevin Harvick just a little bit, closing the gap up to the 33. They make contact coming off of turn number 4 as Magnussen trying to cut off the 4 car. Now we have a battle for 2nd between Hamlin and Greg Biffle. Hamlin side by side down the back straightaway, and Hamlin takes up 2nd. Biffle down to 3rd. Your pole sitter Christopher Bell back up into 4th, and Brandon Jones still resides in 5th, with Daniel Suarez pretty far back in 6th position. Because the lap traffic, there's now about a 5-car breakaway. And 4 of the 5 cars out front are Toyotas. Surprisingly enough, though, not all of them are Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas. 2 of them are Gibbs. The other 2 are HRE and the Gaunt brothers. Hamlin getting a run on the 88 car of Keselowski on the exit of turn number 4, now side by side for the top spot. Keselowski gives him room. Entering turn number 1. Oh, we have a crash. Justin Haley has gone around on the front straightaway. Yellow flag is out. Caution flag waves on the speedway as the 11 car of Hamlin has taken up the top spot. 88 car dropping back. Greg Biffle up into 2nd. 61 of Christopher Bell has taken up 3rd. Racing back to the flag, Hamlin is your race leader. Battle for 2nd, and it is Biffle to hold it at the stripe. 5th position was taken by Brandon Jones. Exiting turn number 4, Kyle Busch gets just a little bit fed up with the lap car of Ross Chastain, makes contact with the 55 coming off of turn number 4. That turns Chastain down to the 77 of Justin Haley. Haley gets put up into the outside wall. Then here comes the 12 of Blaney. Has nowhere to go. Makes contact with the 77 of Haley's rear end, shearing the front end and right front sheet metal off of the 12 car, knocking Blaney out of tonight's running. And then Justin Haley has gotten the 77 car back running. Here comes the 14 of Clint Boyer trying to miss him. Accidentally makes contact with the 77 of Haley. Strangely enough, that actually officially knocked the 77 car of Haley out of the race. It was not the contact between the 12 and him. It was Clint Boyer getting up into it. And now Denny Hamlin leads the field onto pit road for the final stop of the night. This is the money stop. The first car out of the pits is Denny Hamlin getting out in front of Greg Biffle, then Brad Keselowski, Christopher Bell, and Kevin Harvick. Daniel Suarez actually had a bit of a run-in on pit road with the number 95 car, so that actually cost him a couple of spots in the final pit stop. However, because he is restarting still in the top 10, I would say that he is still well within contention, because we've seen all throughout the race tonight that if you're around even 15th position on a restart, within 10 laps you can be the race leader. And here is one more challenge for race leader Denny Hamlin. Up in front of him on this restart, he has 2 lap cars, Myatt Snyder and Ryan Newman, who opted to stay out. So they will be restarting ahead of the race leader. I think I would hate to have Ryan Newman as a lap car starting ahead of me. That sounds like a recipe for disaster if you're the race leader. And the pace car ducks onto pit road. Denny Hamlin leading the field down to the restart zone on lap number 122. And there's the green flag. Hamlin already jumps up to the outside to try and get around the lap traffic. That's going to open up the door for Greg Biffle down on the bottom. Now the lap traffic going side by side. Myatt Snyder getting around the 6 car of Newman, and Greg Biffle uses the lap car of Ryan Newman as a pick on the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Biffle out front. 88 car of Brad Keselowski is taken up second. 6 car gets moved off the inside lane by the 11. Harvick almost turned around Denny Hamlin right there on the exit of turn number 4. And now Keselowski running in second. Brandon Jones in third. And Christopher Bell running in fourth. Suarez quickly cutting his way through the field as well in the 00, getting around the 61. Brad Keselowski has taken up the top spot off the 69 of Greg Biffle on the exit of turn number 2. Keselowski back out front. Brandon Jones on the inside going to second. And yet again, the field starting to stack up farther back. 61 putting the bumper to the 43 on the exit of turn number 4. 4 car of Harvick has raced his way into 5th position. Once again, Brad Keselowski out front with just 10 laps to go, but can he keep this one together and actually win the thing? Last season, in his final year for Team Penske, he came very, very close to winning on numerous occasions until finally putting it together in the final race of the year at Atlanta. Now trying to win his first race for Rick Hendrick, but he has a challenger coming from the 20 of Brandon Jones, who is right on his back bumper on the front straightaway. Now to the inside comes Jones. Side by side for the top spot. On the exit of turn number 2, it is going to be Brandon Jones taking up the top spot off the 88 of Brad Keselowski. Greg Biffle hoping to follow suit to try and take up second. Biffle into the second position. He has a legitimate shot at winning here in the Pennzoil 400. Oh, Brad Keselowski ran it just a little bit too deep entering turn number 1. Daniel Suarez side by side with him, and he's now going to take up the 3rd position on the exit of turn number 2. Biffle right on the back bumper of the 20 of Brandon Jones. Here comes Hamlin, also starting to cut his way through the field. He managed to get to the inside, the 88 of Keselowski, and take up the 4th position. 00 of Suarez still resides in 3rd. As the battle out front is still to be settled between the 69 and 20. Brandon Jones trying to score his first win of the season and his first win for Joe Gibbs Racing. However, Greg Biffle looking for his first Cup Series win since 2013, a full 8 years ago. 4 car of Harvick side by side with the 88 of Keselowski. Harvick's going to take up the 5th position. Hamlin now challenging Suarez down on the inside. And how about Harrison Burton? He's now side by side with Keselowski as well, getting a great run for Levine Family Racing. And now Hamlin has taken up 3rd. Toyota holds the top 3 positions as Greg Biffle has started to drop off from the back bumper of Brandon Jones. Ever since Ryan Blaney wrecked out of this, there's only one stage winner left, and that is the 20 of Brandon Jones. After Blaney won stage 1, he wrecks out with the 77 of Haley. Brandon Jones won stage number 2, and is now trying to win the final stage. But now we have a very large gaggle of cars running for the top spot in the closing laps as Hamlin closing the gap up to the 69 of Biffle. Hamlin going to the inside, now side by side for second. Hamlin trying to become the first 2-time winner of the year. Hamlin's going to take up the 2nd position. That's going to leave the door open for the 00 of Daniel Suarez down on the inside. Suarez will take up the 3rd spot. And here comes Brad Keselowski back to the inside of Kevin Harvick. Biffle checks up just a little bit on the exit of turn number 4. That's going to move Keselowski all the way from 6th to 4th in that one lap. Now just 3 laps to go. The gap between 1st and 2nd is just a little bit over 1 car length. Hamlin right now is able to corner just a little bit better than the 20 of Brandon Jones. And don't forget about the 00 car still waiting in 3rd position. But as I say that, here comes the 88 of Keselowski challenging Suarez for 3rd. Keselowski takes up the 3rd position on the exit of turn number 4. Brandon Jones doing everything he can to hold off his teammate Denny Hamlin. Hamlin runs just a little bit wide entering turn number 1. Keselowski, expect him to catch up just a little bit as the 61 got put up into the outside wall by Kyle Busch. Busch may be warned after this race, after getting involved in so many incidents. Here comes Keselowski running down that 11 car of Hamlin. And at the start-finish line, 1 lap to go in the Pennzoil 400. Brandon Jones out front. Battle for second between Keselowski and Hamlin. Keselowski takes up the second position, trying to run down the 20 of Brandon Jones. Down the back straightaway, he has closed the gap, down to just a car length, separating the 88 and 20. Through turns 3 and 4, he is there, but it is not going to be enough. Brandon Jones, coming off of turn number 4, wins his second career NASCAR Cup Series race in the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, securing a playoff spot. And it is his first career Cup Series win with his new team, Joe Gibbs Racing. Brandon Jones gets the number 20 car back in victory lane for the first time in 3 seasons. A fantastic performance for that organization. And here's what happened with just 2 laps to go. Christopher Bell running in 7th position. Just up ahead, the 18 car Kyle Busch. Busch makes contact with him and puts the 61 car up into the outside wall. This may be a reformation of the rivalry that they had last year. As you recall, Kyle Busch was suspended last year for 1 race by wrecking Bell under caution at the Iowa Speedway. And after this incident, Christopher Bell has actually confronted the driver of the number 18 car on pit road. No physical altercation, however, you could tell that Bell was very, very disappointed in Kyle Busch after his actions. And Brandon Jones has taken home the victory here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway above Brad Keselowski, who almost had a shot at winning tonight's event. With 1 more lap, I think he might have been able to do it. Greg Biffle, a fantastic 3rd place finish for the Gaunt brothers. He finished 4th at Daytona earlier in the year, now finishes 3rd here at Las Vegas. They might need to consider giving him the full-time operation in the number 69 car. Daniel Suarez, after winning here last season, brings home a 4th place finish. Denny Hamlin finishes 5th after he raced with Brad Keselowski in the closing laps. Surprisingly, those two did not get into some sort of confrontation. Harrison Burton actually finished in 6th position for Levine Family Racing. A great run there. Kevin Harvick finishes in 7th. Kyle Busch finishes in 8th. Cole Custer gets his best finish of the season, finishing in 9th. William Byron, also with one of his best runs of the year, gets 10th place. And Christopher Bell, after being moved out of the way by Kyle Busch, finishes in 11th. He probably could have finished at least 5th had that incident not happened, which is why Bell confronted him in the pit lane. And sure enough, after Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Kevin Harvick is still atop the point standings. In fact, he gapped the 2nd place runner by 10 points after the Pennzoil 400, so he is atop the point standings by 29 points above the new 2nd place runner, Joey Logano. Still with no wins on the year, resides 2nd in points. I would still call it a pretty good season. Matt DiBenedetto has dropped down to 3rd in points, 35 points back. Then pay attention to right around 4th to 12th, just how tight the point standings are for those positions, because 1 or 2 spots can really make or break your playoff run right in those positions. Denny Hamlin is 51 points out of the point lead. He moves up 4 spots in points to 4th. Clint Boyer drops down 1 spot in points to 5th. He is 57 points out of the point lead. Chase Elliott moves up 1 spot to 6th. He is 61 points back. Keselowski moves up 4 to 7th. He is 67 points back. Then Eric Jones moves up 1 to 8th in points, 70 points back. Daniel Suarez also moved up 4 spots in the point standings to 9th. He is as well 70 points back. Alex Bowman drops down 4 spots in the point standings to 10th, 71 points back. Austin Dillon drops down a full 6 spots in the point standings from 5th to 11th. He resides 71 points out of the point lead as well. And then Justin Allgaier dropped down 2 spots in the standings to 12th, 74 points back. And in your playoff standings, 11 races, 11 different winners. Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Jan Magnussen, Martin Truex Jr., Chase Briscoe, Brandon Jones, Josh Bilicki are all locked into the playoffs via their wins. Brendan Poole and Anthony Alfredo reside outside the top 30 in the points standings, so right now their wins do not lock them into the playoffs. Brendan Poole will only be running the super speedway races, so that's not really a concern there. Alfredo currently is trying to make his way up into the top 30 in the standings, as he is running for Rookie of the Year honors. If he can make the top 30, he would automatically win Rookie of the Year honors as well, because he is so far the only rookie with a race win this year. That would lock him into the top 16 in points. If no other rookies win this year, he could automatically win the Rookie of the Year honors with 10 races to go, which is exactly what Brandon Jones did last season in the 81 car. Then the best of the rest is Joey Logano, 42 points above the cut line. Matt DiBenedetto is 36 points above. Clint Boyer is 14 points above. Then your next 6 drivers is proof of what I was talking about how close the top 12 in points are in the regular season standings, because Keselowski is only 4 points above. Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez are only 1 point above each. Alex Bowman and Austin Dillon are tied for the cutoff line, with Bowman getting the tiebreaker, and Justin Allgaier is only 3 points out. So that is a remarkably close battle from 13th to 18th of who the final few playoff contenders will be. Then Kurt Busch is 26 points back, and Tyler Reddick is 29 points back in 20th in the playoff standings. And folks, we hope that you have enjoyed our telecast of the Pennzoil 400 from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The next time you'll be seeing us will be Wednesday night, 6 p.m. for Post Tech, where we go over the Lucas Oil 150 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race at the Phoenix Raceway. The next time we'll be covering a full NASCAR Cup Series race. We'll be out at Phoenix Raceway, capping off our second trip out west in NASCAR's Cup Series. And so we congratulate Brandon Jones and company on their first win together in the Pennzoil 400 right here at Las Vegas.